Good evening and thank you for joining me on Black News Tonight. I'm Marc Lamont Hill. It was a 21st century lynching. Those were the words of Reverend Al Sharpton as he stood with Ahmaud Arbery's family today. Arbery was shot and killed in February of 2020. The murder trial for the three white men accused of killing him is happening right now in Brunswick, Georgia. BNC's Dre Clark has more on the trial and the prayer vigil with Arbery's family.
Let us pray.
Outside the Glenn County Courthouse in Brunswick, Georgia,
Trying to wipe away tears.
the Reverend Al Sharpton provides a prayer of comfort for Ahmaud Arbery's family. Arbery's mother on the left, his father on the right.
But we know that you're God that can give mercy and justice anywhere.
Yes, Lord.
The only thing that matters to them is justice for Ahmaud. 12 jurors, 11 white and 1 black man, will determine the guilt or innocence of the 3 white men charged with murdering Arbery. The racial makeup of the jury concerns Arbery's mother, but she's not leaving her trust in the hands of man.
God is good. Trust God. Trust him.
We know our boy was lynched, and we kept searching for answers.
Arbery was jogging through a mostly white community when Gregory and Travis McMichael, along with William Bryan, chased Arbery until they trapped him on the street. Travis shot Arbery with a 12-gauge shotgun, claiming self-defense. Greg McMichael says he believed Arbery was a possible neighborhood burglar because he was running so fast. And Bryan recorded the chase and deadly shooting. And prosecutors say he also hit Arbery with his truck.
Greg McMichael says, we gonna blow your effing head off.
Oh, that part I didn't like.
And then, moments later, they kill Wanda's baby.
What has happened in this case is a lynching in the 21st century.
Prosecutors claim Arbery was targeted and attacked simply because he was black. When it's their chance, defense attorneys will argue the McMichaels were trying to protect their family and the community.
He was running from them. I mean, how do you have self-defense and a person is running from you?
I'm Dre Clark for Black News Tonight.
In Utah, a 10-year-old autistic girl hung herself after constant bullying at school. Isabella Faith Tichener's mother found her dead last week. Her family says teachers and the principal ignored their concerns after Isabella told them about being bullied about her autism and her race. The Davis School District says it takes all incidents and reports of bullying seriously and are investigating. According to the Sun, the district was placed under supervision after a report found that it was, quote, deliberately indifferent to racial harassment. A GoFundMe fund for Isabella's funeral has currently raised more than $58,000. Civil rights groups are hoping the White House will increase clemency for inmates released to at-home confinement during the pandemic. The releases are an attempt to control the spread of COVID-19, and 29 groups, including the American Civil Liberties Union and the Sentencing Project, wrote a letter to the White House. In the letter, the groups argued that the inmates allowed to serve time from home have no history of violence and no disciplinary actions within the past year, so they are considered low risk. The groups also pointed out that many of the incarcerated men have health issues. Attorney General Merrick Garland has also questioned whether the inmates should have to return to prison. One of the Louisville Metro Police Department officers involved in the killing of Breonna Taylor is fighting to get his job back. Detective Miles Cosgrove and his attorney began an appeal Tuesday with the Louisville Metro Police Merit Board, and according to local news station WFPL, the board can either uphold the original termination passed down in January or overturn the ruling and issue new punishment. WFPL also says that an FBI ballistics report shows 2 of Cosgrove's rounds struck and killed Taylor in March of 2020. For nearly a month, students at Howard University have taken part in a staged sit-in. They're demanding that school officials do something about the conditions of on-campus housing. BNC's Rariana Manise reports.
There's a lot of talk, a lot of crumbs that are given to us, trying to pacify us in a sense.
For nearly a month, Howard University student Anaya Vines and over 100 students have been living inside and outside of the Blackburn University Center. Students continue to protest mold, mushrooms, and water dripping from leaky pipes and on-campus housing. BNC also received images of similar conditions inside of a chemistry classroom.
The current events that are taking place on campus are very important. And I hear the concerns. I want to be absolutely clear about that. I also am empathetic with the students who have concerns.
Last Friday, President Wayne Frederick addressed students' concerns publicly for the first time during a State of the University address.
And rather than continue to put out a counter-narrative through the media and social media, which I know has been frustrating for Alum and others, what we have tried to do is to focus on the issues at hand and to manage those issues as well as we can.
But students say his words are not enough. They also say President Frederick is still keeping them out of conversations related to their living conditions.
It was a statement, and he said to the student representatives that were there that he did not want any of the Blackburn takeover students in attendance.
And as they continue to stand firm on their commitment to occupy the Blackburn building, those holding up inside say electricity has been unreliable.
So we had electricity towards the middle, maybe like the first 2 weeks or so, but as we using it for heaters and necessities to keep warm at night.
In the meantime, Howard students are still waiting for their demands to be met by school officials. Vine says they're determined to keep their protest up to help the next generation of Howard students.
The sooner that they realize we're about business and we're not leaving and we have the support and the sustainability to not leave, the better.
I'm Ariana Manise for Black News Tonight.
Joining me now is Erica England. She is a senior student majoring in political science at Howard University. She's also the national organizer for Unemployed Workers United. Erica, thank you so much for joining me on Black News Tonight. What's going on at Howard? Help me understand the protest.
Thank you, Mr. Hill, for having me on. I want to let your audience know that we are now upon a month of protesting at Howard. We have been protesting for not just housing conditions, but shared governance on our board of trustees, and asking that we have a town hall with the president of our university so that we can get these decades and generations long issues that Howard has dealt with under control.
What exactly are the student demands?
So the first demand is a town hall, as you mentioned before, but our second demand is for affiliate positions on the board of trustees to be added back on the board. During the summer, we lost our trustee positions for not only students, but faculty and alumni as well. And the last two demands are that we receive amnesty for all of the students who have been involved in the protest, and also that Howard work with us and release a housing plan so that future students at Howard University won't have to deal with the same housing crisis and housing conditions that we have.
So you're asking for the town hall, you're asking for the positions on the board to be returned, not just as a sort of subcommittee or as an appointment, but as actual trustee seats. And then you're also asking for amnesty, which is often a request made by protesters, especially at universities. The administration has responded to these?
So I have been in 2 proceedings with the university's legal counsel, as well as the legal counsel that's representing the students. The first 2 meetings that we had, they were not trying to negotiate with us. They told us very clearly that they would have a discussion with us if we left the Blackburn Center, and that was all. It was very repetitive. You guys need to leave. And if you don't leave, you think you were not going to be reprimanded or there weren't going to be repercussions.
There was a tweet that went out from the administration last week saying that cafeteria workers had been laid off, and that this was the direct outcome of the student protest. What did you make of that tweet?
I would like to wonder why, if you look into the history of the cafeteria workers at Howard, they've been having issues with the university long before this protest happened. They have mentioned issues about being paid on time, being paid fairly. There was a protest, I think, last year where students supported Sodexo workers, the cafeteria workers at Howard, because we are linked in our struggles with the administration. And for this protest have lasted a couple of weeks, well, now a month almost. It's very interesting to me that at this point, Howard acts as if they don't have the sustainability to keep those workers employed.
So would you say that the administration's response is bending at all? Do you have any reason to believe that in the coming days or weeks that they'll make a different choice?
We have now just been waiting still for administration to negotiate with us in good faith. The proposals that they have made so far regarding amnesty, regarding our demands, which our demands are not demanding in the first place. They are very basic things that students should have. All students should have access to safe and clean housing. All students should be able to have shared governance in a place that they call home. All students should know that they are valued and that their voices are valued by the president of the university and by the administration, the board of trustees as well. We're not asking anything that's outlandish. We're asking for fairness.
Fairness. Well, Erica, that question of fairness is one that obviously the administration is pushing back against in terms of what they think is fair versus what y'all think is fair. I want to keep pressing on this because this is such an important issue. Stay right there. We need to take a quick break. I have more questions for you and another guest coming up. Everybody stay with us. We're talking about the protests at Howard University. And when we come back, we're going to continue that discussion. Stay with us. We'll have the chair of the Howard University Faculty Senate, Dr. Marcus Alfred, joining us in addition to Erica. Stay with us. Welcome back to Black News Tonight. We continue our discussion about the ongoing student protests at Howard University, calling out the deplorable living conditions, as they describe it, at the student dorms. Back with me now is Erica England. She's a senior student majoring in political science. I'm also joined by Dr. Marcus Alfred. He's an associate professor of physics and astronomy. He's also the chair of the Faculty Senate at Howard University. Welcome to the show, Dr. Alfred. You represent 900 full-time faculty members as the chair of the Senate. How does the faculty feel about the current protests and the student demands?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on tonight with y'all. In a nutshell, the Faculty Senate voted to work with the students on this, and voted to stand with the students on with their issues. We've voted to support their demands regarding the affiliate trustees, regarding housing, and of course, immunity from retaliation or against them for protesting for reasonable demands.
Now, one of the questions that has come up is the question of governance, right? Who runs the university? Shared governance is where the faculty, the administration, the trustees, they work in collaboration in order to do the work of the university, and they do it in transparency, with transparency. It would seem to me, one, what is the state of governance at Howard right now? I mean, one of the arguments I keep hearing is that faculty are in agreement with the students about a lack of governance, that things aren't moving the way they're supposed to in terms of board representation and other things. First of all, where do things stand right now in terms of governance?
it's fallen apart, in a lot of ways, as far as the faculty are concerned. There's been no affiliate trustees from the faculty on the board for over a year, and the two elected representatives the faculty had were not seated. The two most recent elected affiliate trustees weren't seated. So in the opinion of a lot of faculty, it's in shambles, and there really is a lack of transparency.
What do you attribute that to? Actually, let me move to Erica just for a moment. Erica, why do you think this shift has happened? From the students' perspective, why are the students being taken off of the board? Why are faculty being taken off the board? Why are things moving in the direction that they are?
From the beginning, they did not really give a valid reason as to why the alumni seats, the faculty, and the student seats were removed from the board. They said that they thought it would be better for communication between those groups of the Howard community if they were not on the board, which I do not understand. It has shown to be more of a lack of transparency, and it is very difficult to say that you are listening to students, that you are listening to faculty, that you're listening to alumni, when you're not proving that with your actions. To remove people's vote, to remove people's voice off of the board of trustees at a place that we call home is unconscionable. It doesn't make sense.
Erica, there's a long history of protests at Howard University. Obviously, y'all took over a different building. The A building is the one that often gets taken over. Where does this protest sit in the history of student protests at Howard?
Well, I know it's the longest. It's definitely the longest. We are now, I think this is day 29. So we are right at a month. I think this protest is very interesting because there was just a protest in 2018, and that wasn't but a few years ago. And from 2018 till now, it seems that the issues that students had are still there. Many of those issues that students had are still there. And it also seems to me that the governance, the administration, the board of trustees has become so entrenched in what their focus is that they have left out the real stakeholders of Howard University. Howard makes comments a lot of times about their stakeholders or their shareholders. But it seems a lot of students feel like we are being sold out, like we are just numbers, we're just dollar signs, we're just metric, because they don't want to hear from us. Our voices, they have proven, are not valuable to the university. And when we want to stand up for ourselves and demand that we be treated fairly and treated respectably, it's silence. It's radio silence.
Erica, were you expecting more support from Howard alum, from prominent, famous Howard alum?
I was expecting more from them because Howard alum know the history of Howard. They know about the protests that have happened here over the years. Chadwick Boseman, when he was here, protested Howard. There are not many alum in the last 40 years that did not experience some kind of uprising at Howard. We are called the Mecca for a reason. One of my professors at Howard, Dr. Carr, told us about how we got the name the Mecca. And it was from protesting at the embassies against apartheid in South Africa.
Wow. So against that backdrop, of a long history of protest and uprising, you expected a little bit more. It makes sense to me. Professor, what's it going to take to change direction here? What's it going to take to get the students' demands met? Again, amnesty, a town hall. Obviously, the conditions in the dorms are key to this conversation, but also shared governance. What's it going to take?
It's really hard to tell. The administration has pretty much done what they wanted for the last several years, this administration. And unfortunately, the Board of Trustees hasn't really held the administration accountable. So it really does take this kind of effort where the students have to effectively shame and embarrass the administration to do the right thing. It takes the alums and it's taking the faculty to kind of break down this don't air your dirty laundry kind of a thing that we've had at Howard for I don't know how long. But it's necessary. The students are not exaggerating. In a lot of ways, they're suffering. Not in a lot of ways, they are suffering.
Well, if the students are suffering, then there has to be resistance. And in the long, beautiful, powerful tradition of Howard, the students are resisting. They're protesting, and we wish you luck. Your struggle, I'm speaking for myself now, is a righteous one, and I hope that you are victorious. We stand in solidarity with you, and anything that I can do to help you, please let me know. Thank you both for joining me, and we'll continue to keep this story covered.